Have you ever stopped to think that what we see isn't always what's really there? We're diving into a really powerful idea today about perception and how the things that seem the most threatening, well, they're often totally harmless. But the real danger, that often hides behind a beautiful, gentle face.
Just for a second, think about it. In any situation, your brain is working overtime, scanning for threats, right? It's a survival instinct. But what if that very instinct is being played? What if the one thing that calms you down, the thing that draws you in, is actually the biggest risk you're facing? Yeah, that's the core idea we're going to unpack today.
All right, so let's get into it. This is a mental model called the law of opposites, and it's basically a framework for seeing the world not just as it appears on the surface, but for what it truly is underneath. This right here, this breaks down our flawed assumptions about danger perfectly. See, we instinctively fear the loud, the jarring, the obvious. That's the false threat. But this law tells us the true threat is often silent. It's elegant. It can even be beautiful. It's the predator that's been hiding in plain sight the whole time.
So, to see how this works in practice, let's look at a classic fable that just illustrates this law brilliantly. It's the story of a young mouse stepping out into the big wide world for the very first time. So the little mouse comes running back to his mother, absolutely terrified. He's describing this horrible, horrible monster. It had raw, red meat on its head. It was tearing up the ground, and it let out this piercing roar. I mean, to the mouse, this was evil itself.
But then, he tells his mom about another creature he saw. And this one was the total opposite. So gentle, with his soft, velvety fur, a modest face, and these bright, shining eyes. He literally says if it hadn't been for that roaring monster, he would have gone right up to this beautiful animal to say hello. And this is the gut punch. The mother explains that the loud, scary monster, that was just a cockatz, totally harmless to a mouse. But that gentle, beautiful creature, that was the cat, the predator. And the lesson is just so stark, so clear. You can never, ever judge by appearances.
So the big question is, why do we make the exact same mistake as the young mouse over and over again? Well, it's not because we're dumb, it's because of how our brains are fundamentally wired to see the world.
You know, there's a term for this: visual bias. Our sensory brain gets so easily hacked by what the source material calls velvet aesthetics. We have this deep, instinctual shortcut that just screams at us. If it's quiet and pretty, it must be good. It must be safe.
And look, this bias is there for a reason. Biologically, we're programmed to be startled by sharp noises and aggressive colors, like the cock. But on the flip side, we're soothed by symmetry, soft textures, and silence, which is the perfect camouflage for the cat. Our own survival instincts can be turned right against us.
Okay, so let's take this ancient wisdom and pull it right into our world today. Because this dynamic, it plays out every single day. The barnyard is all around us. We just have to learn how to recognize the animals.
Just look at these examples. In romance, the cat is that super charming partner who turns out to be a manipulator, while the cock might be the blunt person who actually challenges you to be better. At work, it's the agreeable colleague who smiles to your face but undermines you behind your back versus that gruff but honest mentor. And in finance, oh my God, we are so drawn to the slick, polished scam artist, not the boring report with harsh data that's telling us the actual truth.
So here's the crucial takeaway. We have to literally unlearn our instinct to trust the smile. Because in a world where there are predators, a pleasant appearance is the single most effective camouflage there is. It's a tool, and it's used to get us to lower our defenses.
Okay, so now we get to the most important part. How do we fight this? How do we train ourselves to see the reality behind the illusion, to spot the predator before it decides to pounce?
That's really the fundamental question, isn't it? The goal isn't to get all paranoid, it's to become discerning. It's about developing an intuition that's way sharper than our flawed first instincts. So here are 4 practical steps, 4 little meditations you can use. First, identify the monsters in your life. Are they really threats, or are they just making a lot of noise? Second, find the silent cat. Who's that quiet observer who always seems so pleasant? Third, think back to a time you were saved by the roar. When did a harsh truth stop you from making a beautiful mistake? And finally, you gotta turn it inward. Is your own modest face, your own appearance, an honest reflection of who you truly are?
This is a powerful mantra to take with you. Think of it as a commitment to seeing things as they really are, not just as they appear. It's a reminder to always value substance over style and truth over comfort.
Because at the end of the day, the world is a yard full of all kinds of creatures.
Your success, and even your survival, depends on your ability to tell them apart. So don't just walk toward the velvet because it looks soft. You have to learn to know the cat before the cat knows you.